Stream. All right, we are live. Whew. Welcome to Liberation Day 2.0.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, we're doing it all over again. Except this time it's like more punches. It was a little bit, I don't know, it was unexpected or expected, I'm not sure. But yeah, interesting. Definitely for interesting, for sure. So, markets are down. S&P is down 1.8. Russell's down 2.2%. Oil's down almost 3%. Nasdaq's down over 2%. Dow's down 1.5%. Gold is up 1.8. VIX is up 28%, back up to 21 something. Bitcoin's down 2%. So we had some good news, but the jobs report this morning kind of
Hmm.
killed it. And the revisions to the jobs numbers in the past, that's interesting, right? We're like, oh, hey, yeah, we got this many jobs. And then a month later, no, we had half.
It's hard to, that's a way off number. They were forecasting 106 thousand, and it actual came in at 73.
Yeah. People are saying anything above 100 would be good. Anything under 100 would be scary.
Uh,
So,
That's quite a miss.
yeah, unless they revise it and be like, oh, yeah, we were wrong. But they revised the last few numbers and, said there were less jobs than we thought. So I don't know. If this had happened like on Monday, right, before the Fed meeting, we might have had some more fireworks. Uh,
Makes you
but
wonder a little bit.
yeah, I mean, it kind of tells you like, okay, so if companies are hiring fewer people, why, right? And it's they're pulling back. We can see it. We talk about it every day. It's like things are getting more expensive. Food, especially, housing is still very expensive. Other stuff has come down. So inflation itself is not that big of a deal, but stuff is still more expensive.
Right.
So we might be sitting at 2% inflation, counting everything, but or 2.5, whatever it is, 3%. So that's not bad. But as long as the jobs are in the economy, is GDP was good. So uh, I think we're in a economy wise, I think we're in an okay spot. But you know, the stock
It
market doesn't
is.
like it today.
It is interesting. They said with the rate cut, the chances of a rate cut went up like something like 75% based on the news of this jobs report. That's
Did
pretty
it?
interesting. Yep.
Okay.
So that's a that's an interesting little kind of a little bit of a look into what may be coming.
Yeah, I mean, they have a dot plot for the Fed, and they tell you what kind of percentage of the Fed speakers or the Fed governors are thinking about what they're going to have for the next time, when they're going to lower. And I think it was like a 50% chance of them lowering next month. And then maybe once in December, maybe once in January. Now they pushed it because before they had said, yeah, we're going to do two this year. Now it's kind of been pushed and it's going to be one this year, one next year early. Um, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Liberation Day is in effect. So we had big tariffs hit lots of countries. Switzerland got hit. Uh, Myanmar. I was making fun of them last time, and they actually got hit with the tariff. um, and you had mentioned last time, like, oh yeah, the companies are, the countries, they're just going to move the stuff around. They'll be like, oh hey, we'll get it from Russia, and then we'll send it over here, and then we'll send it over there, and then we'll send it over there. Like,
Well, they did mention there's a way for them to tariff. They figure out who's selling to who and where it's coming from. So they
mm-hmm.
said that they would probably, I think they said the number was
40,
40%.
40%. Yep.
40, right? So I looked into it a little bit further. It's interesting, the tariffs expired midnight last night. They had a range for, of course, it's like mostly imported goods, but a 10%, 10 to 41% is the range. And they essentially mixed these tariffs into three buckets. They said, so I have 10% for countries where the US had a trade surplus, right? A tariff. In general, I'm generally talking. 15% for countries who had a small trade deficit with the US, and then 15 plus for countries that had a large trade deficit or who had not struck a deal as of current. So he's kind of putting these tariffs in these three buckets. So it's kind of interesting. We talked about the art of the deal, and this is kind of how it's playing out. So I expect it will change around quite a bit based on those three buckets.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think the media and Wall Street and whatever, they shot themselves in the foot last time talking about the taco trade, Trump's taco trade, and he didn't like it. And so there was no taco this time. He was coming
Well, we
down.
it's funny you said that. We talked about it on a coaching call yesterday, and the taco trade came up, and it said a lot of us don't know what that means, but it basically says what Trump always chickens out. Is that what it is?
Hmm.
And my sense was I mean, this is my take on it, is that he has had some wins recently, right? And whenever someone gets some wins, I'm just talking basic psychology, I think he's more likely to hold his ground. So he's had some successes, and I think it emboldens him to kind of go further and hold his ground a little bit more. But that's my take.
They've had a few wins,
Few wins,
but
but I mean he is increasing um, some deals, recently.
you're right. Yeah, but they still have a lot of countries that have not done
Well, and
anything.
the main one, right? We're talking China, and I
China,
believe,
they keep kicking the can down the road. They're like, yeah, we'll talk for
yeah,
3 more months and then we'll keep going.
right,
Um, and even the ones that they have agreements with, they're not like fleshed out agreements. They're like, yeah, three liners. They're like, okay, you'll do this and we'll do this and this will happen and then that's it. Like it's not like a 30-page document that outlines everything or something.
right.
So
Like Mexico fits in that. China, what is August 12th, I think, is the deadline now, and there's no reason, like you said, that it'll just be continually kicked down the road until he gets the deal he wants to get.
yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's just, I think it's going to play out for the rest of the few years. I did paying attention to Amazon, their earnings. They had shown that the last quarter there was a big intake in how much stuff was imported, how much stuff that they actually brought in. Um, this last quarter that they reported, there was less. There was a lot less merchandise being imported. So it was like a pull forward effect where everybody was afraid of the tariffs, so they ordered, and then stuff went up, and then last quarter stuff didn't go up, and I think that'll be reflected in the GDP numbers. And I was also reading something about Switzerland. Switzerland has, I think, like I forgot what it was, 26, 29, some percent tariff, and the one of the economists or one of the governors for Switzerland was like, we're a really small country. There's like no way that we are going to be able to not have a trade deficit with the United States. He goes, if every single person in Switzerland every night drunk a bottle of whiskey from you guys, um, ate a steak and bought a Harley Davidson for $30,000, we still would have a trade deficit with you
I mean,
people.
that puts it in perspective.
A
So, what do you
bottle of
want us to
whiskey
do?
every night. Like, yeah, we can't do anything about it. Uh, but especially a lot of these African countries and whatnot, they just don't make enough stuff that we want. their stuff goes to other countries, gets remodeled, refurbished, remade into other things, and then finally finished products come to us. But uh, it's a game, it's part
I
of the
mean,
game. So
he's shaking up global trade, that's for sure.
yeah, the question is, what is this doing to the stock market, right? Like how is this? We're down almost 2%. We haven't been down over 1% in about a month.
Hmm.
Up or down. The S&P has been basically dead, and this day we have all these headlines, and this is happening. Now, this is after we had really good earnings from Apple, we had really good earnings from Facebook, we had really good earnings from Microsoft. Um,
And Amazon beat numbers and
Ama-
revenue.
Amazon, yeah, Amazon did good too. Amazon had good numbers. Stock was down big though after hours because I think of the guidance, but um, they did good. There are other companies that did really good. Robinhood, one of my favorites, they had good earnings. But even still, after that, yesterday, market opened up really big, and it looked like we're off to the races, going to make a new high, and then the whole day
Boom.
just lower, 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 and we closed kind of on the lows. And so that was telling. That was like a big signal right there that, hey, things are not okay. Markets might be going down. This might be a turning point. And so I started looking at the watch list, right? And that's kind of that's one of the things I do is I look at the watch list, I go through the charts really quick to see, okay, what sectors are working, what are not working. And a lot of the stocks that had been working for the last several months, you can notice in all of them, they're all kind of turning over. They're
Hmm.
all kind of going down. Costco,
But interesting
MasterCard.
you brought that out. Look at Costco today. Completely
Costco's
opposite.
up today. Yeah,
Yep.
Costco's up today. But still there, if you look at the overall trend, it's going lower. Intuitive Surgical, um, some of these other ones that have done really, really well are now coming and turning over. And it might be something to keep an eye on. Like Nvidia, down today big, hit all-time high a couple days ago.
Right.
So I don't think in the long term this is going to have much to do with the AI trade, but this could impact if it just gets more wonky. It's not just the tariff stuff that's happening today, right? We have a lot of other news. Russia, the rhetoric with Russia is picking up steam. Trump announced today earlier, a couple about 30 minutes ago, that he's moving two of the nuclear submarines.
I just saw that. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that happened just like you said, like what, a half an hour ago? An
yeah.
hour ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So nuclear submarines are moving now. And that's not healthy, right? That's always a bad thing. Um, and they don't like it. Russia doesn't like it. They don't like being sanctioned even more. I'm sure China doesn't like it. I'm sure India doesn't like it. But they're getting hit with these extra tariffs and doing business with Russia tariff, pretty much.
Hmm. Yep.
So looking at, let me see. How's the Russian or how's the FXI? Let's see. FXI. Yep. So the Chinese market hit a 52-week high a couple weeks ago, and since then it's been down like several days in a row. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. 7 or 8 days in a row straight. It's just been down. Broke through the 20 and the 50-day moving average. Now it's heading towards 100. So they're feeling some pain over there. Um, not that much.
Yeah, we just hit our lows on the S&P for the day.
It's going lower. It's still going
Yeah,
lower, huh?
still going lower.
All right. Well, that's good news. I mean, we're gonna have a nice market power 3-day trade on.
Hmm.
Would it be worth it? I think I think it's gonna be good. I think this trade's gonna be a good one. Down 2%. I think we'll be able to get pretty close. We're pretty far away. Um, but again, it is over the weekend, so there is always a little risk. Um, so what are you thinking? You're gonna get in and maybe wait another hour or so?
Probably gonna wait another hour. Maybe another hour 15 at most. Um, I feel pretty good about this. I mean, looking forward to other than the tariff situation and what we're talking about, there's no big announcements on Monday. So that seems pretty flat as far as the economic calendar. So I feel pretty good about it. And these things tend to bounce around quite a bit, just like Trump does in his policies. So, we could easily on Monday open up higher on based on some news, but you want to be protective of what can happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought the low was already in, and then we just made a new low today. So sometimes, I kind of jump in a little bit earlier than you do in the market power. I know you're more vigilant. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna wait till the very end of the day.
Yeah, sometimes that nips me in the butt a little bit, but you know, uh, there comes a point in the day where you got to make a decision, right? And I think long as you are, looking at the trend and really, of course we can't hit it perfectly. You'll hit it at the right time in general, trading it later in the day.
Yeah, I think maybe anytime in the last hour might be fine.
I
Um,
agree.
Unless it's like totally, moving in a crazy manner. But most of the time, it's like you have to balance that out because it's like, okay, it could move a few points up or down, but then I also miss out on that last hour of theta, which is pretty big too. So,
Right, we talk
uh,
about it. Even sometimes the last 10, 15 minutes of the day are quite volatile, and you can have
mhm,
some big swings. So,
yeah. So I was reading, for those people who think that the government is on your side, I think we just got another reminder that the government is definitely not on our side. And what happened was you've heard of Nancy Pelosi and her husband who have
oh
made
yeah,
a lot of
this is big.
money trading
Yep.
stocks and whatnot. And so there is a Republican, I believe he's a senator, who came out with a bill. Hockley was his name, came out with a bill and said, hey, we should limit or restrict all congressmen and women and their spouses from trading in the stock market. And I think that's a wonderful idea. I think the overwhelming support of the general public it says that's a wonderful idea. Everybody's like, yes, that's good.
Well,
We
did
don't
you
want.
hear of course you heard the numbers, right? What she gets a salary of what? I could be wrong, 170,000, something like that. And she made 400 and I don't know, $15 million in the stock market.
Well, they're all like that.
Oh yeah, they're all like that.
All
But I
like
mean,
that.
just putting those numbers together, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Um, so you definitely know that there's something going on, right? And so he came out with this bill and he said, I want to get this bill. It's in a committee, right? First it's in committee and then it has to go to the Senate and then they have to pass it and then it has to go to the House and they have to pass it. Then it goes to the president and he has to sign it. So there's several steps and we're just in the beginning first step. And so he puts this thing out there and says, hey, we want to ban that all congressmen and women and their spouses and the president and the vice president cannot trade stocks. And this guy's a Republican. And he did not have a lot of Republican support to do this, including Mr. Trump, who came down
Let me think
hard.
about that.
He
Yeah.
came down hard on this guy, like, whoa, no, da, 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 da. And so they found a workaround and they decided that it'll be presidents and vice presidents in the future, not the current,
Oh yeah, of course.
in the
Right.
future. Yeah, anybody else from
But I
now.
like it. But I like it.
But it's a great idea. And
Yeah.
so it did make it out of committee, 8-7. This one Republican and all the Democrats voted for it. All the Republicans voted against it. There was one specific Republican, there was a couple of them that made really dumb comments. One of them, Rob Johnson, he came out and he said that I voted against it because it would make it, quote unquote, unattractive to become a senator if I could not trade stocks.
Wow.
It would make it unattractive to become a senator.
Right, we won't get any. No one will take the job. Why would you?
What? I can't make millions of dollars from insider trading? Oh
It's
no.
amazing that people will say this stuff. Like they don't
Yeah.
even think about, like they think that we're idiots. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
it's incredible.
There was another one, another Republican in the group that said something like, "Oh, what? All of a sudden it's bad to be rich? Like who wants to be poor? Everybody wants to be rich. Why are we not allowed to get rich?" It's like,
All of a sudden, it's bad to have insider information and have an advantage over the general public.
yes.
Yes.
So, these guys are definitely not on our side, and it's insane. So hopefully this thing now goes, to the full body, and we'll see. They'll probably kill it, um, and it'll be the end of that. But
But I think it's a
oh
step in the right direction. I mean, more and
yes,
more people have access to information. We can see everything. It's being more and more apparent.
we
It's
need
in the
this, and we
technology.
need term limits.
I agree with that fully.
Definitely need low term limits. When we were in Washington D.C. for the Fourth of July, right? And we went to tour the Capitol building, and they're giving us all this information and showing us all these pictures of when the country was started, and the Declaration and the war, and then other stuff and all these things, and most of it is earlier. Um, earlier history, like before Civil War. And you really, once you hear about it, like you hear the way that Washington behaved, um, you were like, man, this guy deserved to be, this guy was a good guy. And I mean, you could say what you want. He owned slaves, he had lots of land, da da da, all this stuff. But when it comes down to him thinking about, what should be done for the country, this guy did not want to be the president. This guy did not want to be in charge. And he's like, yo, please, here, let somebody else be the president. Let somebody else do this. I'm done. They actually wanted to bury him inside the Capitol building. Like in the rotunda, they had like a space laid out for him and everything, and they built it that way. And he's like, hell no. He put it in his will. No way, for hell am I gonna be buried somewhere else. I'm burying at home, and that's it on my land. And then they had some after he died, there were some tense negotiations um, about where he's gonna go. And still, then he got his wish, so he's not in the Capitol building. But we are so far away from where the founding fathers were thinking and where our politicians are now. It's
Right.
it's it's insane. Um,
That's a
that
scary thought.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not going the right way. So anyway,
I don't know. I think, when you get into these, albeit tough situations, leaders do emerge and you got to be hopeful that that there is a good future ahead of us.
right there. I was watching the show Fast Company, no Fast Money, right? Fast Money on CNBC a couple nights ago, and they had the co-founder of the Ethereum coin, the ETH coin or Ethereum, whatever it's called.
Is it
Uh,
Velati something? Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think
Yeah.
it's no, I don't think so. I don't think that was it.
Is it?
But I don't know. It might have been. I don't know. I don't remember the name. But it was the 10th anniversary of ETH. ETH's been started about 10 years ago. I'm going to let you guess. What percent return do you think ETH has put in yet up till now in 10 years? How much has it grown? Take a guess.
I would say it's something crazy. Because I would go with something wild like I know you're waiting for
I
30,000%, something like that.
think it's
43,
7,000%.
7,000, yep. Something crazy.
7,000% that has gone up. And then they asked him, okay, so like, what's the future? What's going on? And they looked at it, they're like, okay, well, Bitcoin is digital gold. right? You hold it, and it's not really a currency, kind of a currency, but it can be used to payments and stuff. Ethereum is more like digital oil because it's used to make other things. It's used to grease the wheels of other projects. And so he was talking about it, and he goes, well, there's a lot of companies that are being formed that they are going to own Ethereum.
Mhm.
And that's it. Kind of like a MicroStrategy, their main thing is buying Bitcoin. There are all these companies that are just going to be owning Ethereum. And that is going to definitely shoot the price up. The other thing he said that there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline in terms of the chain and how they're um, recording things with Ethereum. And to be honest, it sounded a lot science fictiony. Like I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. And I kind of know the space, but I had no clue what he was talking about of what's going to be possible coming. But it did sound really, really far-fetched and really, but you've seen it happen. It just needs to be adopted on a grander scale. So um, that the fact that that's coming down the pipeline is incredible. So to some degree, it's like, hey, I looked at it this morning and I'm like, okay, I think we need to add Ethereum ETF to the watch list because
Well,
this
yeah,
thing definitely needs to be watched, you know?
I think it's one of those things. Here we are in time. It is, you can simply look at just adoption, right? From the adoption standpoint, never mind how much it's increased in percentage gain. But if you look at Bitcoin, it's been nothing but what, 16 years old now, and it's been nothing from left to right. You can just look on the adoption scale that it's becoming more and more to the forefront. And it's building its ecosystem through all that. So it's something to, and I think it is transforming the monetary system to some degree.
Right. I mean, in investing, you want to look at the catalyst, right? You want to buy something, but there has to be a reason for it to go up. There has to be a reason for it to
Absolutely.
move. It's
That
not going
never
to just
changes.
move. And so, what is the catalyst here? And if he says that, I mean, you don't have to listen to him. You could tell all these companies are being formed just to focus on this one coin. If you dive a little bit deeper, you can look at all of the projects that use Ethereum to run their project I mean, by project, I mean their crypto project. And they're doing different things in DeFi, uh, and that whole space. So it's becoming more and more used, and they were asking like, "Oh, do you think Ethereum is going to be worth more than Bitcoin?" And I mean, of course, he's biased, but he was like, "Yeah, we're going to go to the moon. Ethereum is just ready to start taking off. And if it's ready to start taking off now, then that's telling you something." And so I think, if anybody's watching this and they get something out of it, I think, taking money and putting it in, even if you're like dollar cost averaging into these crypto coins, I think that's a really smart bet because they might not go up in a straight line, but they are going up. The catalyst is there, and because of the adoption, they're not going away. you know.
Right.
So the stuff that's Trump's passing and the thing with stable coins and all this stuff that's coming out, it's only a matter of time before this gets more and more mainstream. And so it's going to be very, very interesting where this goes. We're in a crazy time, with all the AI
Crazy time.
stuff, um, and the going away of paper money, maybe. I don't know. But it is.
Well, I think of people in their mind, right? Oh, you can go back to when the internet was formed, it seems so far-fetched and so far out of there, but I feel like we're in the 1996 frame right now for digital assets,
Mhm.
so they're trying to scramble to get regulation around it. People need to understand it. There's a huge, I mean, it's like less than 1% of the population actually holds Bitcoin or some kind of digital asset.
Yeah.
So there's a huge dislocation, right, of education around it. So that takes time. It takes time, but there's no doubt that it is becoming more adopted. I think that's what you have to pay attention to. And I think you're smart to say, dollar cost averaging into something is way better than trying to time anything. You know, the rules of investing are always stay the same to some degree, right? You got to know what you're investing in for the most part. Be careful in how you do it, and you know, it should work out pretty well. But there are always, you know, bad actors out there, right? In a new technology. So you have to take your time and really kind of understand things as you go forward.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you remember the movie Forrest Gump?
Of course.
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, I think it was at the end, he's sitting on the bench talking, or I guess through the whole movie he was talking to the lady on the bench, right? Or he was talking to different people on the bench. But I think one part of it, somebody asked him like how he got so much money or what does he do or whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got some of this Apple, like
Yeah.
somebody he had gotten some Apple stock, and that was what made him mega rich, and he didn't have to work ever." Um, and so it was funny because people are always like, "Oh man, I wish I had bought Apple back in the day." "Oh man, I missed it." Well, history repeats itself over and over and
Over and
over
over
and
again.
over again. And if you missed Apple, then, maybe you could have gotten into like social media when that came about. Yeah, the Amazon was there, the Facebooks was there. Microsoft's been there. It's still there. You could have gotten into that Microsoft. Apple's still there. So that was like the whole .com thing, and then the social media thing came after that. Now we have the whole AI thing, and we also have the whole crypto thing at the same time. Both of them have been moving in this direction for years. So there's a guy, Peter Diamandis. He's like a futurist, I guess you
Oh
could
yeah.
call him.
Hmm.
And he talks about this a lot. He goes, there's stuff that's happening for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but nobody knows about it. Nobody's heard about it, but it's developing. Like
Hmm.
AI didn't just come about like 2 years ago or a year ago. It's been work. People have been working on it for 30
There's
years,
signposts all along the way,
right?
right?
Yeah. There's only again. Eventually, there comes a tipping point where it just explodes, and that's where we're at now. I think with AI, that's where we are now. We're getting there with crypto. I think part of it was the adoption by Wall Street, and that has taken over crypto space. Um, we haven't really seen a lot of new projects, crypto projects that have taken mainstream. But I think maybe with the stablecoin adoption by the government and whatnot in different governments, it's going to help it along. And the tokenization of stocks would be big for us, in our in
Mhm.
our realm. The tokenization of different things, buying a stock before it goes public, you can buy a token of it instead of buying a share of it. So that'll be interesting. But it
It's
really is an exciting time. It's like, man, I wish I had more money I could just put into these things, but I don't know when it's going to take off. Right?
well, I mean, you could say that, you know, on the same idea right now, right? With Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? You could be like, okay, I missed the boat, but really have you, right? You know, it's you may be looking, you know, 5 years from now with adoption and being like, okay, I could have got part of it here at this price, right? And the
hmm
thing is, you don't have to have $115,000 to buy. Well, you do have to have for one coin, but you can buy it in fractions, right? So that's
Yeah, you can put $20, you can put $100, you
yeah.
can put whatever you want. So,
But that's the same idea with the S&P 500, right? People are, you know, they're like, okay, well, I don't have the money to buy it. So you buy it like we're telling, you know, dollar cost averaging or something. Steady and, you know, you're buying on the low, you're buying on the high, you're buying on the low, but overall, you're buying. I think the worst thing you can do is just bury your head in the sand and, you know, whether you like it or not, the world's changing and it will continue to change as long as night turns into day.
yeah. The craziest thing is like, I was reading something else this morning, and they were talking about the singularity, which is when, you know, the computer and people kind of join together,
Mhm.
and the computer might be smarter than people. And they're like, it's coming faster than we think, and we need to be aware of it, and we need to be on top of it, and we are not prepared because a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And so what are people going to do? Right? Nobody knows. It's coming upon us very
And
quickly.
how can they know, right? With it moving so fast. I mean, it's easy to be like, okay, yeah, I mean, you can have ideas of um, what jobs will be available, but no one's sure.
I don't think you can either because like
Yeah.
people thought, oh yeah, go to school, become a lawyer, become a doctor, and you're going to be safe. No, not
No.
anymore.
Mm-mm.
Even the doctors are not safe. The AI is doing a better job at diagnosing cancer and diagnosing illnesses than the
I
doctors.
mean, there are, you know, you can go by and just take a I remember this very clearly. I was driving one day, I look over, I'm at a stoplight, and there's a lawnmower, auto robotic lawnmower, right? And it's just mowing the lawn by itself, right? And this is going to happen more and more. It's taking everything, right? And that's the point. It's just, it's fascinating. And then I was reading about how AI can train AI. It's like it gets smarter and smarter, and you just have this flywheel where you just boom, just
Yeah.
explode. Um,
We were talking about Waymo and the self-driving car.
yeah.
Um, I live in Houston, right outside of Houston, and now they've gone ahead and they've approved it, and it's already happening. But there are semi trucks that drive between the Houston, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio metro complexes at night without drivers.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
18 wheelers driving at night with no drivers. Uh, and it's
No
already
brakes. Don't
I
need
mean,
a,
they,
yeah.
I'm sure they have brakes, but yeah, they're doing it on their own, and it's already been approved. It's already happening, and I know it's happening in Florida too on the turnpike. So it's like okay, I was a truck driver, but they don't need me anymore. What do I do now? I was a paralegal. They don't need me anymore. What do I do now?
Well, they said that just think of I was reading about that type of just think of parking, right? How we go in the cities when you park and all these parking places. If you have all these automatic all these vehicles just going by themselves with AI, where's the need for parking, right? So I'll just instead of me driving somewhere, I'll just take a Waymo or something like that. It'll always be constantly moving. It doesn't need to be parked.
That might
So,
be one of the best advances in civilization.
right. I mean,
Getting
just
rid
think
of the
about that.
parking lot.
Right. But think of all that land across, all the parking. I mean, that just changes things very quickly.
hmm Yeah.
I mean, mind-blowing stuff what's going on right now.
Everything seems to be coming together at the same time. But we are at the forefront of what people can do to put their own destiny in their own hands, right?
Yes.
Like if you learn how to trade options, you can do this for the rest of your life. Yes, there will be computers doing it. Okay. Wall Street will hire a whole bunch of computers and AI will be doing it, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
For you to, oh, I own 100 shares of this stock, I'm going to go sell a covered call and make some money on it. That's still doable. You're still going to be able to do that, whether
Hmm.
there's AI or not. And that extra money goes into your pocket. So it's like people, hello, if you don't know, you need to learn this because your job is not going to be there for long.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you want control of your life, and how it goes. And you can do that. It's just because just sitting there and just, hoping things will go along the way you think they will,
Mm-hmm.
not likely.
Yep. So all right. Just a reminder, our Black Friday sale in July is still on. The Option Genius Black Friday sale. Everything we have, 50% off, is still there. It ends on Sunday. So if there is nothing or anything that you've been thinking about buying, like, oh, hey, I want to take this course or join that program, then this is probably the best time to do it all year. And what else do I have for my list today? That's it in terms of talking points. That's all we got today. So what's coming up next week, Matt?
Well, next week, we have some trades and a lot of the memberships coming up. Um,
Because the start of the month.
Start of the month, right? So here we are. Um, It's going to be interesting, I think, next week about how this tariff situation continues or sorts itself out. I think it'd be very interesting. Um, Exciting times. What can I say?
Mm, cool beans. All right. So if nobody has any questions in the chat, I don't see any that we have not answered. All right. All right. Well then, we will, I don't know if you guys are, if you're listening and you're in market power, then we'll go ahead and place this market power trade on and we'll see how it does on Monday. Hopefully it will be stopped out really early. That'll be normal. But other than that, we got some stuff coming up next week. And again, the Black Friday sale is on till Sunday,
Christmas in August.
Christmas in August. And if somebody asked me, it's like, oh, hey, I already joined Market Power. Then, and I was like, well, okay, well, you can, grab the special price and it'll just extend your thing for a year. So you don't have to pay more. And you get to take advantage of that. So if you want to, go ahead and we will see you guys all next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
All right. Take it easy, man. Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.